Hello viewers, welcome back to your channel JD Ki Pathshala. How many of you have seen this ad published in the newspapers on 5th January 2024 seeking suggestions from the public for a high-level committee formed for one election, one nation, one election? I'm sure many of you haven't seen it. Also, some may have seen it in various WhatsApp groups where it was circulated widely seeking public to give their opinions. Thus, this ad may have raised many questions in your mind as to what's the purpose of this committee, why is it formed, who heads it, what is its composition, why is the need for the proposal, and how does it affect the country. Well, I'm here with the answers to these questions. So without wasting time, let's get started. The committee was formed on 2nd September 2023 by a gazette notification. It is headed by former President Mr. Ramnath Kovind. The members of this committee are Home Minister Mr. Amit Shah, former leader of opposition in Rajya Sabha Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad, the former Finance Commission Chairman Mr. N.K. Singh, former Lok Sabha Secretary General Subhash C. Kashyap, Senior Advocate Harish Salve, former Chief Vigilance Commissioner Sanjay Kothari. The leader of opposition in Lok Sabha was also member of this committee. However, he has declined to serve on the committee. Now, coming to the purpose of this committee or its mandate, first it is required to make recommendations for establishing a legal framework for holding simultaneous elections on a permanent basis. It will also recommend administrative framework. It will identify the necessary amendments which are required to be done to the Constitution, to the electoral laws, and also work on the logistics challenges or logistic requirement such as EVM, patch, etc. The detailed terms of reference of this committee can be found on the website link given in the slide. Also, public is required to give its suggestion by 15 January 2024. All the suggestions which are received would be put up to the committee. Why the proposal? Firstly, let's understand that on an average, every 3 months, there is an election in our country, be it at the state, at the local body, or some or the other place, which requires the model code of conduct coming into effect the day the elections are announced. Thus, leads to the freezing of all announcements, etc., which affect the electorate or the area where it is being conducted. Thus, the government functioning comes to an halt. It also affects the policy and decision making, or sort of a paralysis, you can say, and thus it affects government functioning as well as our economy. So let's see, was it like this only before or something new? Till 1967, the Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha elections were held simultaneously. In 1969, some of the state governments were dismissed. In 1970, the Lok Sabha itself was dissolved before its time. Thus, there was a change in the sequence. Till 2004, a large number of governments, that is basically the state governments, were dismissed using Article 356, or some of them resigned for various reasons. Then in 2004, the Lok Sabha itself was dissolved 6 months ahead of its time based on the government's recommendation. Thus, there was a wide change in the sequence, and currently only 3 states go to polls along with the Lok Sabha elections. Now, every proposal has an advantage and a disadvantages. This proposal also has the same. Some of the advantages of holding simultaneous polls are: government, once elected, can focus on governments and it doesn't have to worry upcoming elections in various states or local bodies. This will lead to the continuity in policy decisions. Also, it will reduce to the reduction in the cost for elections, as it is estimated that rupees 60,000 crore were required to conduct 2019 elections. This is official figure. There could be much more cost involved in the same. It will also lead to the reduced deployment of security forces, administrative staff, etc. It will also lead to a common electoral rolls, which is quite a saving for the public and the state. It can end horse trading, as the election will be held every 5 years and the government in power has no choice or the political parties have no choice but to stick to the formation what they have agreed to. It will also reduce the number of freebies which are promised with continuous elections and improve health state finances. But then there are certain disadvantages also. The first and the foremost is feasibility of amendment to Article 83(2) and 172 of the Constitution, which mandate the Lok Sabha and the Vidhan Sabha for 5 years. It also is a logistical challenge as a large number of EVMs, VVPATs, security forces and other things would be required. Preparation of single electoral roll is also a major Herculean task. It's against the idea of federalism as per some of the political parties, as their terms of various state assemblies etc. would get reduced or increased, and the national policies or the national issues may affect the state elections as well. Then there are legal challenges like Representation of People's Act 1951 and the rules for procedure for Lok Sabha and state assemblies would require appropriate amendments. Minimum 50% of the states would have to come on board with the or on board this proposal. Also, this conduct may affect the regional interest as smaller parties will be at a disadvantage vis-a-vis large parties or the national level parties. This may not be overall cost effective as initial investment is huge and the simultaneous conduct may reduce a very little amount. Also, election expenses aren't always bad as many of the election expenses help the economy grow, especially the smaller businesses like pamphlet making, tea, coffee, etc., get business during the elections. Thus, what is the way forward? The way forward would be, first and the foremost, is to build a consensus among the political parties as well as various states, carry out amendments to the Constitution, a Representation of People's Act, and the rules of procedure of Lok Sabha. We will have to invest heavily in the infrastructure and technology if all the elections are to be conducted simultaneously and the results are to be given well in time. Also, it will need to align electoral cycles of the states with the Lok Sabha, which may be very difficult as a large number of state elections are held and the assemblies have various schedule. Also, it will require establishing of a legal framework to deal with various situations like dismissal of a state assembly, early dissolution of the state assembly, governments going into minority, and such like things. Also, it will require to create awareness among voters as many voters are not inclined to have simultaneous elections of the state and the Lok Sabha. Then we come to a question is how does this affect India? So this proposal affects India as many of the citizens feel that it affects their fundamental right to vote freely as the national issues may overshadow state or vice versa. It affects governance and the economy alike. It also affects the policy making and the way forward for the country and the states, affect every citizen in every way. So what would be recommendations of this committee? That we will have to watch. It's going to be a very long exercise. It is certainly not going to affect the elections which are being conducted in Lok Sabha 2024 or next 2-3 years. We may see something coming up for 2029 elections. Till then, we'll have to watch out for this proposal. So that was all for today. If you have not subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe to the channel. Share this video if you like it, and of course don't forget to press the like button if you have liked the video. So till next video, I am signing off. Bye. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.